Welcome to Feast Week. It's the Progressive Legends Classic from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Our second semifinal pits the 19th ranked Michigan Wolverines against the Oregon Ducks. And welcome everybody to Brooklyn. Doug Sherman along with Kara Lawson. We saw Villanova play extremely well in the second half in our first game. In our second matchup, Kara, we've got two pretty young teams, but each team has a similarity.
Young teams and each coach anxious to come to Brooklyn to see how their young guys would handle being tested by a quality opponent. But you're right, both teams have stars. Joe Young for Oregon can light it up, averaging 26 points per game. And Caris LeVert, he's really improved his all-around game, averaging 6 assists. He's the key to the Michigan offense.
Should be fun. Let's take a look at the starting lineups. First, for the Wolverines from Ann Arbor, Derek Walton Jr. at the point, Zach Irvin and Caris LeVert. Terrific trio in the backcourt for Michigan, Cameron Chapman and Mark Donald. And for Oregon, there is Joe Young, the senior transfer from the University of Houston, Ahmad Rory, Dwayne Benjamin, Elgin Cook, and Dylan Brooks. Lots of new faces for Oregon this year as they get ready for the Pac-12 Conference. Michigan in the blue, Oregon wearing the yellow with the green lettering and trim.
Elgin Cook, you can only tip it, you can't catch it off the jump ball, so right off the bat, we're going to get a look at this Michigan offense and how they handle pressure. Oregon will get out and pressure you. How they handle that in the full court and also in the half court will be key for the Wolverines.
Oregon has only 8 men, really, an 8-man rotation. As we talked about, many new faces trying to get used to each other. Irvin misfires on his first attempt. And the man trying to make it work for Oregon, Dana Altman, in his 5th year with the Ducks, 1978 graduate of Eastern New Mexico University. He was the National Coach of the Year a couple of years back. Cook looked like he may have been bumped after he left the floor. Walton kicks to LeVert.
The end-to-end speed of Derek Walton makes a huge difference for this Michigan team. Finding guys in transition, it's been an improvement of Derek Walton's game from his freshman to sophomore year.
John Beilein in year number 8 as Michigan's head coach. He played Division II basketball at what was then known as Wheeling College back in the early mid-70s in West Virginia. He's a native of upstate New York. Off the inbound, nice look. Dwayne Benjamin for 2.
John Beilein electing to take Derek Walton out of the basketball game quickly there after that first foul.
And at the point, Spike Albrecht, he plays starters minutes essentially. That's him with a lob pass. Terrific look to Cameron Chapman. Cook for 3. That's a brick. Long rebound comes to the Wolverines. Caris LeVert brings it up. Albrecht to the corner. Nice shovel pass. Donnell with the dunk.
That's really good there. I mean, you see how balanced Michigan is on the offensive end. Great job by Spike Albrecht to really start that, to get into the lane. And then Cameron Chapman, a guy that has not played well on the offensive end so far. So it's nice to see him get involved as you see Cook, and that's what he does. He's going to drive hard right. Michigan have to contain penetration in this basketball game.
The junior from Milwaukee makes it 7-4 Michigan.
See a lot of same-size switches for Oregon on the defensive end, but LeVert's such a tough cover.
Young's first shot off the mark, and the rebound goes up and over the top of the backboard.
So what's the strength of Michigan offensively? They have a lot of guys that can pass, a lot of guys that can score the basketball. Here's Chapman, the lefty, 4-player, freshman front court, freshman to freshman there. And Donnell with the finish. And you know, this is the area of growth for Michigan, and this is what John Beilein wants to see, what he gets out of his freshman front court players. They also have Ricky Doyle coming off the bench. How do they handle the increase in the level of competition here in Brooklyn?
Young misses the lefty runner. He has 6 freshmen on this Michigan roster. Albrecht being hand-checked the whole way. Dylan Brooks called for the personal.
I love Derek Walton and his end-to-end speed and transition. He makes this team electric. But Spike Albrecht in the half court, we've already seen it. His change of speed, his vision. He's crafty with the basketball, and he has the ability to get into little crevices and make plays off of the ball screen action.
Chapman misses the iron. He's 0 for 5 so far this year from beyond the arc. Brooks, no. Young soars to the rim but couldn't get the roll. Another Oregon offensive rebound, and they'll pull it out.
You know, Oregon's got some good looks at the basket on the offensive end. I mean, Joseph Young had a good open look in transition. We saw Elgin Cook with the pick and pop. They just haven't had any of them go down. A big key for Oregon in this basketball game, they've averaged 16 offensive rebounds in their first 3 games. So when they miss shots, they get second opportunities. That's a big emphasis for Michigan. If they don't give Oregon second opportunities, then they could find themselves struggling to score.
Casey Benson's come into the ball game for Oregon, freshman from Tempe, Arizona. He's the backup point guard to Ahmad Rory. They play similar minutes, at least so far this year, through the first 3 games. Irvin. That is a sweet stroke for the 6'6" sophomore from Fishers, Indiana.
And he's not shy. I mean, Zach Irvin, he's going to put it up. He lives in that corner in John Beilein's offense, but he does not hesitate. If he gets a clean look at the basket, he's going to go. Joseph Young.
Wow. Splits the double team and goes up with the left-handed hammer. Second team all Pac-12 last year, averaged nearly 19 per game, and they need that sort of production each night this year if they're going to win.
Well, they do, and Zach Irvin, a big piece, the leading scorer for Michigan coming into this game, almost 21 a game. His confidence from beyond the arc at an all-time high for the Wolverines, but they've got a great scorer up in Eugene, and that's Joe Young going to the rack hard. We've got a 4-point game.
Michigan has the early lead over Oregon. We send it over to Jeff Goodman, the 3rd member of our broadcast team, with more on the Ducks.
This was not the roster that Dana Altman was anticipating at Oregon. He had 5 guys graduate, but 2 transferred, 2 didn't get into school, and the big hit came when 3 were accused of sexual assault. There were no charges filed, and they were later dismissed by the university. Damian Dodson, you've got Dominic Artis, and also Brandon Austin. Those 3 guys were thrown out of school. 2 of them right now, all 3 are in junior college. The only one playing in junior college, Brandon Austin at Northwest Florida State. So this is a completely revamped roster for Dana Altman, and it's thin, painfully thin.
Jeff, thank you. And yes, Michael Chandler, a 6'10" junior from Indianapolis. He's still rehabbing a meniscus injury. Didn't make the trip. He could be back perhaps by the time conference play rolls around, but the Ducks are just having to make do right now.
Which will give him a little bit of size, and that's one thing that this team doesn't have, really playing some wings at forwards. And we see Jordan Bell come into the game. He's really their one true post player, but 10 players Dana Altman lost off of last year's team. And you talk about turnover, really only Joe Young and Elgin Cook are returners that played meaningful minutes from a season ago. So a completely new team for the Ducks.
Karis LeVert now with 5 points. 12-6 Michigan. Jaleel Abdul-Bassett with the basketball just into the game. He's been instant offense coming off the bench, averaging nearly 10 per game this year.
This is a little 1-2-1-1 full court pressure, 3/4 court pressure that Michigan will see after makes, sometimes after free throws. Nice job handling it there. Let's see if they can get into something.
And Michigan plays with the 2 point guards out there together, Walton and Albrecht. And here's the Moose Max Bielfeldt. Shot clock down to 4. Albrecht in trouble. And here comes Oregon. The lob, but unable to finish Jordan Bell. Albrecht with a wide open look. The junior co-captain with his first points of the night. Oregon the answer, and it's Joe Young.
They're so fast. I mean, they can get up and down. This is an Oregon offense that's averaged 89 points a game through the first 3 games. And Joe Young, he gets a lot of his points in transition. He's definitely someone Michigan has to find.
Bell another rebound. After that last quick bucket by Young, Coach Beeline went right to the bench and got Ricky Doyle up. He's at the scorer's table. And Young starting to heat up. It's a 1-point ball game. Irvin averaging nearly 21 points per game. Levert, that's going to be off the mark short. Out of bounds, Casey Benson. Back to the Wolverines.
Oh, take a look at this play and how electric Oregon can be in transition. Joe Young, 26 points per game. And defensively, Michigan, as he frees it right here, nobody steps up on that ball screen. So if you're Michigan's post players, one, your first thought or your first job is to call the screen. Second, when you're using the screen or when you're calling the screen against Joe Young, you've got to step up and close that gap, not to let him get a free look at the basket.
Young has 7 of Oregon's 14 points. Strong move along the baseline. Irvin with the finish.
You see the difference there? I mean, that was really good by Derek Walton there. Transition, closing out, hands high, not allowing them to get a free look. And that's better there by Ricky Doyle. So just difference there with someone else in the ball game, new personnel. Good job there by Michigan. And now you get Oregon in the half court, which is where you want them.
Young to the corner. The 3 rattles out for Abdul Bassett, and it's Michigan basketball.
I mean, that's the goal if you're John Beeline, is to get Oregon to play against your half-court defense, as many possessions as possible. The way you do that is you score, you have them take it out of the net, you have low turnovers, you try to get to the free throw line and make them play uphill in their transition game.
Levert. No. One and done for Michigan. Young pulls it back out. Ducks down 3. Levert the takeaway. He's got Young to beat. Can't do it. Missed the shot. Out of bounds. Oregon basketball. Joe Young's been delivering for Oregon, but Michigan is up 3. Semifinal of the Progressive Legends Classic. It's part of Feast Week presented by Lowe's here at Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Michigan with the early 3-point lead. Defensively, the Wolverines are keeping their eye on young Mr. Joe Young.
It's tough. I mean, the thing that impresses me the most about Joe Young is how efficient he is. A lot of times we see players across the country that average those big numbers and their shooting percentages aren't great. And you look at Joe Young, and this year he's 50% from the field, and he's perfect from the free throw line. He's 50, 40, 100 guy this year. You say, well, that's a small sample size. Well, even last year, his numbers are very high and efficient, and I think that's what makes him one of the best offensive guards in the country, because he does it at a high rate and he's very efficient with it.
And Kara, he has gladly embraced a larger leadership role with this young group of teammates as Benjamin misfires. As an example off the court, back in September, Joe Young took his team to the grocery store. Each player had to prepare 1 dish. So he prepared pork chops, Somebody else prepared mac and cheese, somebody else fish. Just a way to get this new group of Ducks feeling like a team.
So many new players, and you love that if you're Dana Altman, because it's your senior, it's your leader, it's your best player. And Elgin Cook has also stepped up to become more of a vocal leader in practice, but they're going to lean on those two players for the bulk of this season until some of these young guys come around.
Yeah, Young, the senior from Houston, Cook, the junior from Milwaukee. Seven to shoot. Rory gives back to Young. He's going to have to get up a shot. Air ball. Michigan with it. Looking to build on the three-point lead. Rory spins. Cook throws it down. Spike Albrecht. Nobody picked him up.
That's a great job by Albrecht, just attacking the press into the middle of that soft spot. And he's able to get all the way to the rim.
Benjamin finds the open man, Rory. An offensive foul.
Transition game. That's his team's strength. And it's a great job by Rory to find Cook. Nice little spin in the open court, and Cook is a strong finisher. You set up that press, and how about Spike Albrecht? We've seen him do this so many times. Get into the lane and go right and go left. He can finish and does a nice job there on the defensive end of drawing the charge. But already you see the contrast. How good Oregon is in running up the floor in their transition offense. And when Michigan can line up their defense in the half court, they've done a pretty good job of keeping Oregon from scoring.
Derek Walton Jr. with the basketball. Irvin. He doesn't need much space. Left it short. Oregon down 3 with the basketball.
So how active the Michigan posts have to be defensively on these ball screens for Joe Young. Hard to check him one-on-one, particularly when they're running a lot of screens for him.
Wayne Benjamin off the window for 2. Junior from Lafayette, Louisiana's got 4 early points. Chapman, nice look. And the slam by Aubrey Dawkins. Son of former Duke All-American Johnny Dawkins, currently the head coach at Stanford, and he has a very bright future. Michigan is extremely high on him. Blocking foul as Cook made his way to the basket.
So you attack pressure, and that's what Benjamin does there, Dwayne Benjamin. And you know, we talked about Oregon and their size and how they're smaller on the front court. Well, where is that an advantage for them? They have great quickness with their front court players that will look the face up, put the basketball on the floor with Cook and Benjamin and get by you, and we see that there. One-on-one defense for Michigan's post is going to be very important because we see how quick Benjamin is in getting to the basket.
Oregon starts 6'6", 6'6", and 6'7" along the front line with Cook, Brooks, and Benjamin. Jordan Bell at 6'9", the tallest active member on the roster. DJ Wilson, freshman from Sacramento, commits the foul. Well, the winner of this ball game will play for the championship of this event against that man's team, Jay Wright's Villanova Wildcats. Winners earlier tonight, 77-53. And what a second half. They used a 16-0 run in the second half to absolutely blitz VCU.
You don't see many teams handle the VCU pressure like Jay Wright's team did tonight. And, you know, their experience, I think, really shone through in that game. Javon Pinkston, Darren Hilliard, Ryan Archidiakono, just the experience they have on that team really paid dividends for that group, and they were spectacular on the offensive end in that second 20 minutes.
And somebody who made only one basket may have been the player of the game, Ryan Archidiakono. 9 assists, 0 turnovers against that pressure. Zach Irvin, for the second time off the bounce, able to get to the rim. Cook back out to Brooks. Benjamin misfires. Karis LeVert, 6'6" junior from Pickerington, Ohio. Somebody who the folks of Michigan assume is going to be in the NBA next year. Donnell with his second field goal. Timeout, Oregon. Six unanswered points by the Wolverines.
You know, what's interesting about this first half is I believe that John Beilein's already played 11 players, and that's not something that we're used to seeing this early. And they found a groove offensively with different lineups on the floor. And remember, Donnell, Doyle, when you look at those freshmen, those big men, they're going to be counted on the improvement. And John Beilein, we talked about the balance for him in terms of playing freshmen, getting them experience, but also leaning on your veterans. And he felt like this was a tournament that his young guys, Donnell and Ricky Doyle, were going to get some good experience against some quality competition.
Care what I like is seeing Zach Irvin, who last year as a freshman, 3/4 of his field goal attempts came from beyond the arc. He continues to expand his game. We see already twice to the rim for a dunk and a layup.
More difficult, more unpredictable, and that's what you have to do from freshman to sophomore year. As teams become more apt to game plan for you, as you become a feature part of the offense. Remember, this is a group that lost Nick Stauskas. They lost Mitch McGarry to the NBA. So Zach Irvin coming in, he knew he was going to be a feature part of this offense, and he is off to a fantastic offensive start to the season.
And you're right, with Stauskas in the NBA with the Sacramento Kings, he's one of the guys really having to pick up that scoring slack. But he's certainly capable, you would think, a former Mr. Basketball in the state of Indiana. Bell the air ball, and the Ducks just keep coming. Dylan Brooks gets his first two.
You know, that's what jumps off the page of this Oregon team was how hard they play. I mean, Dana Altman, this might be a team that you're not sure what you're going to get in terms of having so many new players, but what he's gotten every single night so far this season has been consistent effort on the glass, on the offensive glass in particular, and it's paid dividends there.
On the floor now for Michigan, number 12, Muhammad Ali Abdur-Rahman. Albrecht's pass knocked away. Casey Benson back the other way for the Ducks. That's going to be a chance for three for the freshman from Mississauga, Ontario, Dylan Brooks. Michigan's lead back down to 3. Michigan holding a 3-point lead over Oregon. Darrell Lawson, we have seen the Wolverines go deeper into their bench early than we are accustomed to.
Yeah, a little bit surprising. I mean, John Beilein has played 11 guys. And, you know, we've seen early appearances from Aubrey Dawkins, from Abdur-Rahman. We've seen a lot of different players. I don't know if this is a function of the pace, because the pace has been really high, or as a function of trying to find the right combination to get what they want done on the defensive end. And I think that's been the reason why we've seen all five players, all three centers for Michigan here in the early going, has been trying to find somebody that's going to get back in transition, rebound the basketball, and defend those ball screens correctly.
Well, I think it goes hand in hand probably with the words John Beilein told us earlier this afternoon. His team is in a growth mindset. That's how he puts it, that he wants them to be thinking about growth individually and as a team.
Yeah, I love what he said. He said, we're not into jumps, we're taking steps. And you have to have that type of mindset with a young team. There's going to be some times where guys make mistakes, and he's on a short list of guys that you would want leading and teaching a young team, because John Beilein has made a living in college basketball by being one of the finest teachers of the game.
Right, he's truly a teacher as well as a coach. And actually was a high school teacher in upstate New York right out of college. Shot clock under 10. Irvin has it taken away, but he's able to somehow get it back. Shot clock never reset. They say no possession change, and so it's a shot clock violation.
How hard did Oregon play on that defensive possession? I mean, just impressive, and great job there by Jordan Bell just to come from the weak side and put it up. But Joe Young was switched on to Donnell, and he's able to hold his own there. Just a really, really good effort defensive possession there by the Ducks.
Well, this Oregon team is 3-0 coming off a very impressive win that may not nationally catch the eye as Dylan Brooks hits the three. But last Friday, they beat Toledo 78-68 for Dana Altman's 100th win at Oregon. And that Toledo team is an extremely tough squad out of the mat. Let's send it over to Jeff.
A late addition of the roster was Dylan Brooks, who just made that shot. A Canadian kid, played very well over the summer, was set to go to prep school, and he was a big pickup for Dana Altman. Kind of a Draymond Green type player, not a great athlete, just knows how to play, especially in the offensive end.
He's got 7 points all in a row. He's got the last 7 for the Ducks, who've pulled back into a tie at 25 apiece.
Well, really skilled. And so what Dylan Brooks allows you to do is a lot of pick and pop action. They'll run some ISOs for him at the top of the key. He's just a nice offensive piece to give some versatility and to give some offensive support to both Young and Cook. The other thing that his size and his ability to move his feet give them is same size switches. And so you'll see that from Oregon a lot. They can switch ball screen action because they have 3 to 4 players that are the same size guarding on the perimeter.
Chapman gets 1 out of 2 from the line. Those, by the way, the first 2 free throws taken by the Wolverines tonight. Young guarded by Albrecht. LeVert just throws it up toward the rim, and Ricky Doyle able to complete. They'll have a chance for a 3-point play when we come back to the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Michigan's Karis LeVert was a preseason top 50 for the John Wooden Award. He's got tremendous versatility here.
Oh, he does, and he leads the break, and that's a difficult matchup problem. But one of the big improvements for Karis LeVert has been passing the basketball. He's averaging 6 assists a game. He already has 3 this evening, and one of the areas of growth that John Beilein talked about is he said, listen, earlier in Karis' career, he'd drive into the lane and he wouldn't know what to do next. He wouldn't make the correct reads, or he'd be sped up. Now he slows down, at least mentally. He understands where to look, and certainly that 6'7" frame gives him an advantage, being able to see over the defense. But a good pass there, and a great playmaker in Karis LeVert.
He's a young man, Kara, who is naturally unassuming, doesn't find himself as the vocal leader, but it is his show now. He has been the backup the last couple of years, but with people like Trey Burke moving on to the NBA, it's his show. And you know, the last time out, he took over the ball game against Detroit with 17 points in the second half, and he won that game for the Wolverines.
That's the next step for Karis LeVert, is that killer instinct on the offensive end, just that ability to turn it up a notch, to try and dominate when his team needs it. And Ricky Doyle, I mean, he's coming in and giving John Beilein some really good minutes here. Yeah, the freshman from Cape Coral, Florida, is fired up. Shot clock continues to wind down at 17. Irvin knocks the ball away, but Michigan couldn't secure it. So the energy, the weak side defense, we're going to take a look at Ricky Doyle here on that end of the floor, and just comes over in the lane. Great job as a secondary defender to send that rejection, and that's what you need against this Oregon team. Hard drivers, and Doyle does an excellent job, the freshman, just 18 years old. Originally, the shot clock was reset to 35. They got it back down to 10, saying there was no change of possession. Now off of that first failed inbound, it's 9, and now it's a moot point. Air ball by Young has Michigan coming back the other way. LeVert, bad pass. Young stepped in, took it away, and he's fouled by Albrecht.
Michigan fouls for 2, Spike Albrecht. His first, team's 5th.
15 foul, non-shooting. Dwayne Benjamin comes back for the Ducks. Abdul Bassett takes a seat. Bell on the post. Tough shot. An air ball out of bounds. Michigan basketball.
I love what Doyle's doing. I really do. I mean, he is getting out there, hedging on these ball screens, stopping the ball handler, getting back to his man in the post, and then fighting on the glass. I mean, he has really had a good last 2 to 3 minutes here on the defensive end of the floor.
He's just 18 years old. John Beeline talked about the fact that a number of his players didn't go to prep school. They are fairly young for college basketball in this day and age. LeVert's another one. He's a young 20. Young, Bilal, and the big finish by Jordan Bell. It's back down to a 2-point ball game. Dawkins gets the corner on Benjamin and then passed it into the Oregon bench.
I love watching this team in transition. I mean, they all run hard, and that's the base for any good transition team. Not your guards, but your posts. If your posts run hard, like Jordan Bell does right there, you can get a lot of opportunities, and he just sneaks behind. And he's got Spike Albrecht, a guard, trying to check him there, and that's an easy pass and play there for Joe Young. Yeah,
Young the assist, and Bell, one of the other freshmen on the roster from Long Beach, California. To your point, Kara, Oregon has an advantage in fast break points, as you see, 6-zip.
They're fun to watch. I think this Oregon team has surprised some people here early. I know it's the first month of the season, but I don't think any of us knew what to expect because of the turnover and because Dana Altman was going to be relying on so many freshmen, so many new players. And they keep playing like this, and they're going to surprise some people out in the Pac-12. I think picked 8th preseason in the Pac-12, but they play so hard. I mean, they play so hard on both ends of the floor. Their posts run the court hard. They go to the offensive glass hard. Really impressive first 18 minutes for these guys.
Well, clearly, Arizona is the team to beat in the Pac-12. And you've got Colorado, Utah, maybe Cal. So you think Oregon has a chance to be better than that 8?
It could be. They keep playing like this, they could be. Their size, or the lack thereof, is what worries you a little bit, because they don't have a dominant low post presence. They don't have a dominant player, but 16 offensive rebounds averaging a game. If they run this hard and defend this hard, they're going to win a lot more games than people expect out there. There's some big teams out in the Pac-12, you know, Stanford. I mean, they've got some big guys, Reed Travis, Stephen Natch. We saw them here in this arena a couple nights ago.
That's a travel. LeVert and Albrecht in the backcourt for the Wolverines. Dawkins, Doyle, and Irvin also out there. Albrecht. Doyle still active. That's a charge against Elgin Cook.
that Michigan emphasized in their shoot-around today is the hard drivers. And Elgin Cook's a guy that loves to drive right. Zach Irvin playing scouting report perfectly there, gets his body in front. He's able to take a charge. I think that's the third charge in the first half here for Michigan. So they've done a good job of stepping in there and taking the contact.
Final 15 seconds of the half. You know what I like about Levert? He changes speeds a lot. With the basketball, you can never gauge how fast he's going.
Nope, and that's something that he's had to learn because he's a focal point now. And changes speed, he's got a solid handle. I think it could be a little bit tighter in half-court situations, particularly when he's getting a lot of pressure, but his size and his ability, he's a player. He's a great all-around player, Karis LeVert is.
And, you know, he's a good friend of his former teammate, Trey Burke. They were AAU teammates together, and it was Burke who actually led to LeVert being recruited by the Wolverines, and they used to have great one-on-one battles. That's a great way to learn if you're the freshman and sophomore trying to battle the established All-American.
Absolutely.
Benson's runner does not go, and the Wolverines close out the first half on an 8-2 run, and they head to the locker room here at the Barclays Center with a 6-point lead. With 11 players getting into the game, 7 of them scored. Michigan 33, Oregon 27. We send it over to Jeff Goodman.
John, you were without Derek Walton for much of that first half. How differently do you have to play with him on the bench?
We're just throwing a whole lot of guys in the mix really right now, Jeff, to see what we can do. You know, we're trying to figure out who we are every day that we play. So with Derek being out, that made us try to identify some other things, and we'll just keep learning from it.
Held them to 27 points, though, at the half. How pleased are you with your defense?
Well, I really like when we can get in front of them, giving great help side defense, not letting them get their penetration game as much as they can. Got to do that again in the second half, and then, of course, keep them from getting second opportunities.
Thanks, John.
All right,
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Coach. At the half, 33-27 Michigan. We'll be back with highlights. First half action right after these messages. Welcome back to the Progressive Legends Classic. We're in Brooklyn, New York. Michigan with a 6-point lead over Oregon. With Carol Lawson and Jeff Goodman, I'm Doug Sherman. A look at the first half stats, and pretty even throughout. The difference in your mind for Michigan to lead by 6, Kara, is?
Well, I thought their bench came in and changed the game. Specifically defensively, I thought Ricky Doyle gave John Beilein really good minutes on the defensive end of the floor, and their bench needed to step up because Derek Walton got those 2 fouls, and so Michigan showed that they have some quality depth there in the first 20 minutes.
And the Wolverines start the same 5 as they did to begin the ball game. Likewise for Oregon, this is Joe Young. He had 7 points in the first half, came in averaging 26 per game. Bowling his way to the basket, but missing the first time is Elgin Cook, who tips in his own miss.
Well, nice recognition of the switch there by Oregon. He had Derek Walton on him, Elgin Cook did, and they go right into the post and take advantage of that size mismatch.
Again, Oregon has only 2 veterans back from last year. There's a veteran for Michigan, and Zach Irvin. He's into double figures. Benjamin draws the contact, and he will shoot 2.
Michigan fouls for 34, Mark Donnell. His first to the second half.
First on Mark Donnell, redshirt freshman from Monclova, Ohio. good look at Dwayne Benjamin, 6'7", 210, out of Northside High School in Lafayette, Louisiana. He was offered a number of Division I football scholarships. After playing junior college basketball, decided to come to Oregon, and there's some of that athletic ability.
Offensive rebounds. And one of the things that was surprising in the first half, Oregon had 8 offensive rebounds, which is right along their average. They came in averaging 16 per game, but they only had 2 second chance points. So that's got to be a point of emphasis for Dana Altman's squad here in the second 20 minutes as they're struggling to score in the half court. They've got to make Michigan pay when they get second chance opportunities.
And Oregon doesn't start anybody taller than 6'7". Walton. Zach Irvin pulls it back out. Chapman wide open, misfires, and that's Benjamin coming away with it. Young has his pocket picked, but the Ducks will keep it on the baseline. There's a good look at Dana Altman in his 5th year as head coach at Oregon. This is his 26th season as a Division I head coach. Had stops at Marshall, Kansas State, and Creighton most recently. Shot clock down to 8. Back to Cook on the pick and pop. And once again, the offensive rebound keeps the Ducks going. Dylan Brooks with a chance for 3.
It's been their offense here in the second half. Nice little pick and pop there, and nobody checks out. I mean, it's a free run to the basket, whether it's Dylan Brooks, whether it's Dwayne Benjamin, whether it's Elgin Cook. If they're out on the perimeter and the shot goes up, and you're Michigan, you have to get a body on those guys. You're doing a great job on the first shot. It's the second shot that's killing you here in the first part of the second half.
And with that, Walton picked up his 3rd personal foul and heads to the bench. Spike Albrecht back in at the point. Oregon has used a 6-0 run to pull within 1. Karis LeVert heads to the free throw line. Elgin Cook picks up his 2nd. He's the son of 4-time NBA All-Star Alvin Robertson. Played, of course, for the Spurs and the Bucks. Former star for the Arkansas Razorbacks.
What do you see from Michigan here? Oregon goes on a little bit of a run because of their offensive rebounding, and John Beilein gets the ball into LeVert's hands and gives him an opportunity to make a play to try and stymie this Oregon Duck run.
Cook. This time, 1 and done for Oregon. LeVert hangs in the air and once again earns a trip to the stripe. Boy, with that size and that length, he's a tough assignment.
He is, and his change of speed, his hesitation. I'm not sure there's a player on Oregon's team that one-on-one has the ability to keep Karis LeVert in front, and that's been the best offense here the last few possessions for Michigan, is just to give him the basketball and let him operate. If they're not going to bring help, let LeVert operate one-on-one and get to the basket.
Let's go back over to Jeff with more on Karis LeVert.
If John Gross didn't get the Illinois job, Karis LeVert would be at Ohio University right now. He signed with Ohio U. John Gross ends up getting the Illinois job, and the rest is history to some degree. John Beilein ends up taking a chance on him, and he's kind of the next under-the-radar find for John Beilein. It was Trey Burke a couple years ago, Nick Stauskas last year, and as Kara mentioned, the key right now for Karis LeVert, is he going to be that guy who wants to take over a game and shows that toughness?
Yeah, I think that's the next step for him, Jeff, is just that toughness and that killer instinct on the offensive end of the floor. But, you know, I think LeVert and his maturation, that speaks to how good a job John Beilein and his staff do at player development. And you look at the players that have come into Michigan over the last 4 or 5 years and what they developed into. pro-level prospects, first-round picks, and LeVert is poised to join them very soon.
Shot clock down to 3. Bad decision by Bell. And while Karis LeVert is projected right now to be a first-round draft pick if he chooses to come out this year, there is a line of thought that he is a good student who wants to get his degree. His father, Darryl Sr., died of a heart attack in the summer of 2012, right before he became a freshman. Very close with his mom, Kim, his brother, Darryl Jr., and he would like to get a degree for his mom. And so Karis LeVert plays with that in mind. Now, by leaving a year early to go to the NBA doesn't mean he can't get his degree, but there is the possibility he could be back for a 4th year.
He's going to have options.
Yep.
He's going to have options, and that's what you'd like to have. And certainly, Michigan loves having him in the program, and he's a guy that they're going to lean on. You know, this is a Michigan team that they start 2 sophomores and 2 freshmen, and Karis LeVert. So we've talked about how young they are, and so he is a central piece to what they're doing just because of the experience he has from the last 2 seasons in John Beilein's offensive system.
You know, LeVert was supposed to redshirt his freshman year. He's so young in his class, and they didn't feel like they needed him, but he wound up playing so well in practice that he earned a spot on a team that went to the national championship game, and he contributed all the way to Atlanta, where Michigan fell just short of winning a national title. Actually, it's only been a couple of years, but Michigan has only 2 guys who are real contributors still around. Spike Albrecht, people remember he had a big Final Four at the Georgia Dome. Shot clock at 3. Young at the buzzer. And a foul against the Ducks. Karis LeVert, one of the co-captains for the Wolverines, has his team up by 5. The winner of our nightcap between Michigan and Oregon advances to play in the championship tomorrow night here at the Barclays Center against Villanova. With Tara Lawson and Jeff Goodman, I'm Doug Sherman. And Michigan led by 6 at halftime. On top by 5 now. Oregon is yet to lead, Kara. They've never been able to quite get over that hump, but Michigan can't shake them either.
No, I mean, Oregon is staying in this basketball game just because of how hard they're playing on the defensive end of the floor, even though they have sent Michigan to the free throw line 11 times, and they've only been 4, but it's been their offensive rebounding. I mean, that has kept them in this basketball game because they've had a hard time solving Michigan's half-court defense, but they've been animals on the offensive glass.
This is Oregon's first time away from home so far this season, coming in with a record of 3-0. 1 and done this time for Michigan. Joe Young. And he gets the roll. First 2 points for him here in the second. Oregon's got wins this year over Coppin State, over Detroit, and over Toledo. Albrecht feeds the post. Chapman facing up, spins to the baseline. Nice job to stand and wall up by Elgin Cook. 7 to shoot. Albrecht. And Bell blocks it out of bounds. Michigan will have 3 seconds to work with. Bell goes out. Brooks comes back into play with those 3 personal fouls.
Watch LeVert here.
Shot clock violation. Young did not have possession of the air ball before the horn blew. And Derek Walton comes back in, sophomore from Detroit. He's had a quiet evening, in part because of foul difficulties. drops it off, and the whistle. It's an offensive foul against Joe Young.
Yeah, nice job there by Ricky Doyle to step in there. Michigan was an emphasis for them, before the basketball game, knowing that Oregon, they're hard drivers, and they've done a pretty good job on the attacks to the basket by the Ducks to get in there, take some charges, and get the basketball back. Let's see if Walton can help the pace of this Michigan offense in the half court with his speed. Yeah,
LeVert traveled, yep. So the Michigan drought continues. No field goals and going on 6 minutes.
It just feels like the pace of their offense isn't great right now. And Walton has such great end-to-end speed. Let's see if he can kind of energize this group and get them moving and cutting at a good pace on that end of the floor.
Oregon's going to have a chance to tie from the free throw line. Elton Cook with a strong finish.
So it's just a 4-5 pick and roll, and what they're doing is they're attacking the 5-man defender, right? Ricky Doyle, and then so help that has to come over is Karis LeVert, and it's late. The help is late. And, what Oregon's doing offensively is very similar to what Detroit did against Michigan and where they had success. Right? That was a tight game until the last 5 minutes of that ball game. 5-guard offense, 5 players that can all attack and score. So Michigan is going to have to solve that riddle, particularly when they involve the 5-player in that pick and roll action.
For just the second time tonight, Oregon has tied Michigan. The last time was 25 all back in the first. Albrecht throws it up to the rim, but good defense by Oregon. Michigan will keep possession with 9 to shoot.
Here's what can't happen if you're Michigan offensively is it can't be Karis LeVert one-on-one. I mean, everyone's got to touch it. Yes, you want to feature him. Yes, you want him to get the basketball, but other guys need to step up and make plays, and Spike Albrecht does that right there.
He does. He gets the maize and blue off the Schneid. First field goal in 6 minutes and 10 seconds. Young was going to turn it over one way or the other. Left his feet in traffic and had nowhere to go. Zach Irvin draws the foul. Jaleel Abdul-Bassett picks up the foul. Young man from Anchorage, Alaska, his second. By the way, he and his father, Claude Butler, have the distinction of being the only father-son combination ever from the last frontier, the state of Alaska, to both earn Division I men's basketball scholarships.
A little uptick in intensity here the last couple of possessions. I like it.
Walton takes the basketball from his roommate, Zach Irvin. Irvin splits the defense for an easy 2. And again, as a freshman, his bread and butter was shooting from the perimeter. Tonight, we're seeing his game expand. LeVert. Quickly back the other way. How about LeVert? Mr. Brooks, get that out of here.
Karis LeVert, we talked so much about his improved offensive game. How about the defense? Great job protecting the rim there for Michigan.
Every time Oregon makes a push at Michigan, the Wolverines push back.
I thought it was very important that they involve other players than Karis LeVert on the offensive end of the floor. And Michigan kind of woke up the last couple possessions. Zach Irvin with a nice drive and finish. And then on the other end of the floor, this is such a great block. I see it multiple times. And LeVert adds a little postscript there. I'm guessing he's not inviting Brooks to his holiday party.
No. And those two, LeVert and Irvin, both have 12 points to lead the Michigan offense. Tied a moment ago, 40 apiece, but the Wolverines with 4 quick points to get back on top. That's for the defending regular season champs of the Big Ten. And Michigan won 28 games a year ago, 31 the year before. And this is a program that is on par with pretty much any in the entire country based on what John Beilein and his staff have built there in Ann Arbor.
Absolutely. I mean, by any metric, right? By number of wins, by advancement in the NCAA tournament, by number of first-round picks over the last couple years. So, you know, Michigan is right there, and for that program, I mean, last year was a great year because they were able to win their first outright Big Ten title in 28 years. So as proud a history as Michigan has had in basketball, it was quite the celebration in Ann Arbor for that group to do that.
They've made the last 4 NCAA tournaments and off to a 3-0 start to the year here. Although with a lot of new faces, as we talked about, they've got the big 3 in the backcourt. Still trying to find themselves. Irvin fouled on the pass. Seventh team foul, and so a 1-and-1 for Mr. Irvin. Out of Hamilton Southeastern High School in Fishers, Indiana. He was a teammate of Gary Harris, who went on to be a terrific star at Michigan State. Now the Denver Nuggets. Now this year, Coach Beilein says he needs this young man to be a volume shooter.
He's not shy about it.
Nope.
He'll put him up. He gets just a sliver of free space, and Zach Irvin is going to put up that shot.
6 unanswered points for the Wolverines.
Well, they're going to attack Donnell, and he's got to be prepared for it. We see Michigan, they're going to go to Ricky Doyle here defensively because the last couple times down on the court, it's been isolation action for Elgin Cook at the elbow, and they said, we think our guy can beat your guy from the elbow in, and that's what he's done. He missed that first layup, but he gets fouled there, so we've got to change here and see if Ricky Doyle can do a better job in one-on-one defense. A lot of Michigan fans here.
Yeah, they've traveled well for the holiday week. And a big alumni base here in the metropolitan area as well. And a terrific crowd for our first game. A lot of Villanova fans. Derek Walton Jr. His first bucket of the night comes with a little style. Young from the corner for 3. Timeout, Oregon.
What an answer.
The Ducks continue to hang around, down 5 to the Wolverines.
A bit of breathing room here in the second half, 5-point lead, and a big part of that has been their attack mode on the offensive end of the floor. Derek Walton played by foul trouble in the first half. The separation, the hang time, great elevation here by the point guard. How about this being his first bucket of the basketball game? First points for the point guard. It's going to be big for him down the stretch to be involved, to attack. He's such a vital piece to what they do on the offensive end of the floor.
Member of the Big Ten All-Freshman team last year when he averaged about 8 points per game. Terrific three-point shooter, knocked out over 41%. But as you say, those were his first points here tonight. They do need more offense out of him this year.
They do. They need more offense. They need consistency from him every night.
Dangerous pass. 5 to get it across the timeline, and now with the defense dropping back, it's easy for Walton. Hold on the cutter. Wayne Benjamin, the guilty party, his first personal. And that's the 8th against the Ducks here in the second half.
And this is what Oregon's going to have to guard against because they're in the bonus already. Michigan has done a really good job in this second half of attacking the basket with both LeVert and Irvin. And every time they foul now from here on out, it's an opportunity for 3 points. This lineup right here for John Beilein, I think has been their best lineup to this point in the season. And it's his 4 perimeter guys.
Yep.
The 5 has been interchangeable depending on what night who's playing well, but you have the veterans, you have the players that have been in the offense. They seem to have a better flow when these 4 are in together.
And all 4 of them are good free throw shooters. So with 10 minutes left and already in the bonus, the Wolverines have a chance to go to the line a lot. Nice set for the Ducks. Rory's got his first points of the night.
Hanging around, aren't they?
They are.
Hanging around. Every time it seems like Michigan seizes the momentum and is going to start to make this a double-digit lead, Oregon comes back with a big shot.
Oregon has tied the game twice, but has not been able to take a lead. Here come the Ducks again. Benjamin appears to have been hit in the eye. He plays on. Brooks fouled on the block. Just the first on Irvin. And as you see, the 5th against the Wolverines in the second half. Brooks backing down the smaller defender. And with the extra attention he drew, nice job by Elgin Cook to cut to the basket.
Well, that's the downside of this lineup, is that you have 2 small players in Walton and Albrecht trying to defend, so there could be a mismatch somewhere, and Oregon takes advantage of it.
I tell you, Ricky Doyle has provided a nice spark at both ends off the bench.
He's been physical. He's been really physical and attacking. Great recognition here by Doyle. Cook goes for the basketball, goes for the steal. You know, Brooks is a little confused because he thinks he jumps up straight, but he moves a little bit laterally there. And great attack there by the freshman. I've loved his aggressiveness on both ends of the floor here. And he's been a big lift for Michigan.
Go back over to Jeff Goodman.
Yeah, one of the reasons why Doyle hasn't played a ton, he's a true freshman. The other, he's just trying to pick up things defensively in a fairly complicated system for John Beilein. But, Kara, does he remind you a little bit of a poor man's Mitch McGary?
Let's go poor man's Goodman. Yeah, let's go poor. McGary can go, and he was a super athlete. But I think Doyle, you know, you're right. The 5 player in this system, Jeff, it's difficult on the defensive end of the floor, but also on the offensive end of the floor because you're up at the free throw line. A lot of guys come from high school, and they're used to being on the low block as a 5 player, right? You're 6'9", you're 6'10", your coaches put you on a block. John Beilein puts you at the free throw line. He wants you to execute dribble handoffs. He wants you to screen and roll and slip. And so it's a big adjustment to come into this program, and he's got 2 freshmen that are trying to learn that. And
McGary, early in his college career, was not an impact player like he turned out to be, that X factor in their run to the national championship game. McGary, by the way, among the wounded warriors for the Oklahoma City Thunder right now, is Joe Young is slow to get up off the floor.
But in fairness to Jeff's point, as we take a look at this charge, and Young is driving in there, and Doyle again. I mean, there's another opportunity for him stepping up. But in fairness to Jeff's point, McGary came into Michigan older. he was an older guy when he started, and Ricky Doyle is just 18. And so the maturation, the growth that happens from a player from 18 to 20, who knows in 2 years what Ricky Doyle is going to look like for this program.
Casey Benson replaces Joe Young, who went down hard on that last play. LeVert draws the contact from Bell, and Bell comes away with the basketball. Irvin called for the foul. Back to Brooklyn after this. Zach Irvin, the sophomore from Fishers, Indiana, playing well tonight for the Wolverines.
No, he is. And in the second half, really upped his aggressiveness in terms of driving to the basket. At times, he's that prolific three-point shooter for this team. But here in the second half, I really liked his aggressiveness, putting the basketball on the floor, attacking. And, you know, the balance that he gives this offense, it's a wing opposite Karis LeVert that can be explosive, that can get hot. Really stepping up in his sophomore season, being a consistent offensive player for this crew.
Well, this is a Michigan team that has had a better than 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio as a team. Last year they were 8th in the country at 1.5, 2-to-1 in assist to turnover. And they led the NCAA in fewest fouls per game last year as well. Discipline, a lot of discipline you get out of a John Beilein team.
Hard to defend, because you have smart players. It's reading and reacting to what the defense is doing. It's skilled. I mean, that's the biggest strength of this team, that they have guys that are good shooters, good passers, just solid offensive players on the perimeter.
Well, their quote big three of LeVert, Irvin, and Walton this year have combined for 50% from beyond the arc coming into tonight. Clean look for Brooks, well short. Walton the rebound, and here comes the Michigan Wolverines. Good hustle from behind by Jordan Bell, but the blocking foul is called against Casey Benson.
And that's the end-to-end speed we talked about with Walton when he came back into the basketball game, that he can interject some life and some energy into this offense because of this. That's just on a miss. That's on a miss. He gets the rebound, and he's able to take it and put pressure on the defense because of his speed and his ability to finish at the rim.
The lead stretches back to 5. Benjamin for three. He was fouled on the shot. Bad decision defensively by the freshman Cameron Chapman.
How hard was Karis LeVert working at the top of that press? I mean, he almost forced a 10-second call. Just really getting after it one-on-one defensively.
Return. Bell and Benson go out.
I had a feeling Albright was going to get Chapman, who just makes that foul, because, you know, we talked about it again, the comfort level of who's on the floor in a tight basketball game down the stretch. And just the comfort level right now for John Beilein is with his 4 returnees, is with his veterans down the stretch on the offensive end to make the right decisions, to make plays, because Remember here down the stretch, their offense, the quality of their shots offensively is almost as important as their defense because it keeps Oregon out of transition.
Quality shot there by Walton. Brooks just got away with a carry. Ball got caught up in his midsection. Cook the rebound. Here come the Ducks again, back to a 3-point game. Timeout, Oregon. Now Michigan just cannot shake Oregon. The largest lead was 8. And one of the two returning veterans for Oregon, Elgin Cook, continues to help keep them close.
Well, I think John Beilein would like to have some size on the front court to contend with Oregon and their live bodies. And Elgin Cook, one of those live bodies, runs hard in transition, is a physical player driving hard to the basket. Offensive rebounding's been a big key. We see one-on-one in the post, taking advantage of mismatches, getting the offensive tip. That is the danger of this smaller lineup for Michigan. They're going to have to rebound with Oregon and keep them off the offensive glass.
You've been talking about it all night, getting on the offensive glass. Oregon has 11 second chance points, Michigan only 2. It's the second semifinal of the Progressive Legends Classic at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, with Kara Lawson and Jeff Goodman. I'm Doug Sherman. 6:29 remaining in the second half. The winner of this gets Villanova tomorrow night. Villanova had its way in the second half earlier this evening against VCU. Timeout, Michigan. So what did John Beilein not like about that, and what's he telling his guys at this point?
Well, you know, it just comes down to execution here late in the game. So Flo, he might have not have liked the look that he had or what they were trying to execute. I think here in a situation where you have 15 seconds left, you're drawing up a specific play for a specific player or a scheme that the defense is doing. So I wouldn't be surprised if Levert or Irvin get the look because they've been so good in one-on-one ISO situations here in the second half.
Well, the last time Villanova faced Michigan was way back in 1985, the NCAA tournament. Last time they played Oregon even farther back in 1974. How about that final score? The Ducks 116 to 77. That's one of the other good things about events like this in November, that you get matchups you wouldn't otherwise see. You get interregional matchups, and a team from the Pac-12 facing a team from the Big Ten that you'd only see in the NCAA tournament other than this. Shot clock at 1. Spike Albrecht, no. Doyle. He's going to go to the free throw line.
Well, the other thing about these matchups is the short turnaround time. So these tournaments, early season tournaments, you can liken them to conference tournaments where you have back-to-back days, you have back-to-back games, so you have to recover quickly, of course physically, but I think coaches want to see mentally, can you go from scouting report to scouting report and having to play a different style the next night and come away with a win.
At this time of year, Kara, it's not unusual for teams to be playing 4 games in 8 days, 5 games in 10 days, and that's more than the pros do. That's a lot of turnaround and a lot of quick study. Doyle gets 1 out of 2. Brooks uses the screen. Under 10 to shoot. Brooks with 3, leans in, shoots an air ball, gets it back. There was a reset on the shot clock.
Yeah, there was a reset. There shouldn't have been.
Karis LeVert goes down hard after a terrific pump fake that had Benjamin flying to the bench. Yeah, from our angle, you and I thought it didn't look like it hit. Fourth foul on Elgin Cook. Brooks backs his way down, misses the turnaround. Much more active Derek Walton Jr. here in the second half. Nice on the defensive glass. LeVert pulls the trigger. For the tie. Oregon's back within one. The freshman from Canada providing energy for the Ducks. Timeout, Michigan.
You know, I didn't like that settle by LeVert on that end because he's done so well in the second half in terms of driving, and Michigan's in the double bonus. I thought he should have taken Brooks off of the dribble, but what that did was that translated to the other end of the floor, and Oregon's able to get in transition off of that LeVert miss, which is where their strength is. So you take a shot that I think is a little ill-advised by Karis LeVert, and Joseph Young gets a clean look at that transition three and offensive rebounding, second chance points. It's been the reason that Oregon has come back, but I think that's what John Beilein is getting into his guys right now is we've got to run great offense. You have to run great offense in possession games down the stretch. You can't just go one-on-one. You've got to screen. You've got to get each other open.
The most animated we've seen John Beilein tonight, imploring his team. See the second chance points, offensive rebounds, all Ducks. 17-6. So again, a team from Oregon, undersized, getting 17 offensive rebounds and counting.
It's been really impressive, their effort. They haven't gone away, and the reason they've been able to claw their way back into this game, it's not like they were way out of it. I mean, they always kept the lead at a manageable level, but just hard work. I mean, sprinting in transition, sprinting to the offensive glass, defending hard. Certainly they fouled a lot here in the second half, but it's been an impressive performance by the Ducks. See there, and that's it right there.
Abdul Bassett picks up the personal foul. 56-55. Just continue hanging around. Welcome back, everybody, to Brooklyn. Michigan 56, Oregon 55. Michigan has led by as many as 8 here, but as you've called correctly all night, and from the first time you and I started talking about the Ducks earlier in the week, you talked about how hard they play, and we have seen that manifest itself.
You know, a lot of people didn't know what to expect from Dana Altman's team this year. This is a team that lost 10 players from the roster a season ago, returned only 2 regular players as far as the rotation, and Joe Young and Elgin Cook. So a lot of new pieces to have to fit in a short amount of time, and I've been really impressed with Dana Altman's group. They're 3-0 coming into this game, undefeated on the season, and they have given Michigan everything that they can handle here in the first 36 minutes of this game.
Yeah, they tied it up at 25 apiece in the first half. Tied it again earlier here in the second at 40 apiece. But Karis LeVert and the Wolverines won't relinquish that lead. They've done at the free throw line. Rory for 3. With a hand in his face, but another offensive rebound. A Another 50-50 ball that comes to the Ducks. Foul on Doyle.
Foul 32, Ricky Doyle. His first, team's
eighth team foul against the Wolverines, so Young to shoot a 1-and-1.
Well, you don't love the foul there by Ricky Doyle because it puts one of the better free throw shooters to the free throw line for Oregon, but you have to love how aggressive he was on that hedge because you cannot allow Joe Young to turn the corner. If he turns the corner, you have more problems. So he's going to have to figure out a way to move his feet and keep Joe Young in front of him without fouling.
Now Young is only halfway to his season average of 26 points per game. Kara, have you seen anything from the Michigan defense that has held Joe Young in check?
Well, they've locked into Oregon in transition. They haven't allowed him to get any free looks. Joe Young gets a lot of his baskets in transition, on the wing, shooting threes and getting to the rim. And so Michigan's transition defense, I think for the most part, has been pretty solid. That's also why Oregon only has 57 points. They come into this game, they average 89. So they've controlled the pace of Oregon's offense.
They can't find Doyle on the post. Got a big size mismatch. What a shot by Karis LeVert.
Now, this is a big boy play right here. I mean, going one-on-one, his best option here in the second half has been attacking. He's had a number of these drives. This is the first one that he's finished through the contact, been able to get the and one. They put Jaleel Abdul-Bassett in to check Karis LeVert one-on-one. That's why they made that substitution. Karis LeVert, he doesn't care who's guarding him. He feels like he can get to the rim against anybody.
Foul went against the help defender Jordan Bell. There you see the foul trouble piling up for Oregon. The official calls time as Benjamin went down in pain, but should there have been a traveling violation?
Let's see right here. Oh yeah, looks like he might have stepped on LeVert's foot. He kept his dribble. Should be a big loss down the stretch for Oregon if Benjamin's not able to come back into the ball game because he's been such a great rebounder. Yeah, we see him just, I think he might have caught LeVert's toe right there.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, right there. I see the hop after he already, his pivot foot hop there.
But that left foot rolled right there.
Yep. He's trying to keep his dribble going.
And so in 8-man rotation, looks like it's going down to 7 with significant foul trouble across the board.
Yeah.
Not putting any weight on that left foot. So it's Cook, Rory, Brooks, Young, and Benson, the 5 on the floor for Oregon. LeVert, Irvin, Walton, Doyle, and Albrecht out there for Michigan. Shot clock at 2. The force. And another big defensive rebound for Walton.
Great defense. Great defense by Michigan there, keeping everybody in front. Nice help side. Or I should say help off the one pass away by Karis LeVert to keep the penetration out of the lane.
LeVert again attacking the basket this time. Couldn't get the finish. Young spins into the block. Free throws are coming for Oregon.
Joe Young got stuck. I mean, I'm not sure he knew what he wanted to do. He felt Spike Albrecht. It looks like Walton was there.
So Walton picks up his 4th. Can't get much better than Joe Young at the foul line this year.
Yeah, that's a tough call against Derek Walton. It looks like he had established legal guarding position there and taken that charge. But for Oregon, it's a lucky break because I thought Joe Young was confused or not sure what he wanted to do, and he ends up spinning into the lane and gets to the free throw line. How can Oregon manufacture points against Michigan's half-court defense? That's going to be the story here of the last 2 minutes. Can they get some buckets? I like the substitution here by Dana Altman to put Jordan Bell into the game, give you some protection, give you some size at the rim to go against those LeVert and Zach Irvin drives.
Irvin in trouble. Nearly throws it away. 15 on the shot clock. Another Michigan timeout, leaving John Beilein 1. Well, in winning time, it's the Karis LeVert show. He scored their last 6 points, and I would figure coming out of this, he's the likely option as well, Kara.
Well, I think John Beilein just wants them to run offense. He wants them to run something. You can't get too much into one-on-one, but certainly if the ball lands in the hands of Karis LeVert, he's going to attack, as we see Benjamin going back to the locker room. So it looks unlikely that he will return to the game, and that's a big loss for Oregon here down the stretch because of his ability to defensive rebound. But he just wants them to run their stuff. Run your stuff, cut hard, and something will come out of that if you run it well. Michigan at times has gotten disjointed, and that's why we've seen John Beilein take a couple timeouts mid-offensive possession, halfway through.
Albrecht will be the trigger man on the sideline for the Maize and Blue. Shot clock at 10. Here's LeVert. Back to Irvin. That's running some offense. Irvin commits his 3rd foul at the other end, but a big 3 to stretch the lead back to 5.
Huge play. Karis LeVert all night has gotten into the lane, so Oregon helps with that extra defender. Rotation's a little bit late, and Zach Irvin doing what he's done all year long, which is a quick trigger 3-point shot. But you got to get back. You got to get back because there's less than a minute and a half left in the basketball game, and you got to get back because Joseph Young is so quick getting the basketball up the floor.
17 points now for Young, who's only 5 of 15 from the floor, but perfect as usual at the foul line.
See if we see that 1-2-2 pressure after this free throw. Oregon's been pretty consistent with that in the second half. See if they can fall into something, fall into a steal, fall into a deflection here.
That's the 5th on Dylan Brooks. And so that bench gets a little shorter. Well, this talented freshman for Oregon has certainly drawn the attention of the Michigan fans here in the building. He has a big upside ahead for the Ducks. Played well tonight, but his night is over.
Number 2. Checks back in for Oregon.
That'll bring Abdul Bassett back into the game. Walton's 2 for 2 tonight. Max Bielfeldt comes back in. First time we've seen him since very early in the game, replacing Doyle. Young crosses over Irvin and draws the foul. Fourth foul on Irvin.
We haven't really gotten to see Michigan defend Oregon in the last 3 possessions, because the last 3 possessions, Joseph Young has drawn the foul and gotten to the free throw line. So that they're giving back their 2-possession lead if Young are to make both of these without time going off the clock. I mean, it's just not the way you want to play with a multiple possession lead down the stretch.
Offense defense switch again. Doyle back in. Bielfeldt out. And just like that, 2 more free throws for Joe Young.
And if you're Oregon, you're just telling yourself, all we need is 1 stop. All we need is 1 stop. It's a 1-possession game. Don't foul. Let's get 1 stop and then try to push it quickly.
Oregon's last 8 points, Kara, have come from the free throw line, and all from Joe Young. 1 minute left in regulation. Levert in the lane. Doyle the rebound. He's bottled up. Figures he'll go up with it, and it pays off. He was looking for a teammate, then called his own number. Rory misses the 3. Irvin the rebound. And the foul committed by Young.
How about Ricky Doyle? I mean, he has been the guy off of the bench tonight. Offensive rebounding has been all about Oregon. But in probably the most important possession in the game, it's the freshman Ricky Doyle with the offensive rebound for Michigan and the putback to stretch it out. And that might be the cushion that the Wolverines need to finish this game off. He has been so good off of the bench for this team on both ends of the floor tonight.
Michigan doing the job at the foul line. It has made its last 7. Are we in Ann Arbor or are we in Brooklyn? Maybe Brooklyn, Michigan. Bodies on the floor. The whistle comes. It's Michigan basketball on the alternate possession. Irvin makes the big pass to Levert. And it looks like Oregon's going to let it go. Michigan just would not relinquish the lead. An impressive win, 70-63 for John Beilein's club. So for Carol Lawson, I'm Doug Sherman saying so long from the Barclays Center in New York, where the final score, Michigan 70, Oregon 63. Karis LeVert and Zach Irvin lead the way for the Maize and Blue. To watch this entire game on replay, as well as other games on our family of ESPN networks, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.